You can change your entire life by just changing one habit. Subscribe to our podcast and make listening a habit.
Change your mindset, manifest your dream life, and live magically with Rise and Align.
Raising the frequency one episode at a time.
Everything is always working out for us. Hello and welcome back to the Rise and Align podcast, where we talk about all things high vibrational. My name is Demi.
And I'm Haley, and today we are talking about how we attract our own reality. And this has a lot to do with the law of attraction and the energies of the universe. And I think that so many people often think that they are a victim of circumstance. But when you truly understand the energetics of the universe, because the universe speaks in energy, you can co-create with the universe.
Absolutely. So a lot of people, when they hear this, so if you're new to this concept, don't worry. I also felt like kind of, I guess, shocked by the understanding of this concept. And a lot of people are hesitant to be like, oh yeah, I totally believe I create my own reality. A lot of people are like, no, like God's in charge of every aspect and like I have no control over my own life. Some people are in the middle. A lot of people are very like, well, that doesn't seem like realistic, but I'm here to tell you the CIA has government studies on this topic. The CIA has studies on this topic proving that this reality is one of energetics and that our mind is what's creating our reality. I could go on, but let's just talk about it. Let's explain it first and foremost. As we all know, everything is made up of energy and everything vibrates at a specific frequency in order to show up in the physical reality. Now, our emotions are energy in motion, and our feelings are the frequency that we're vibrating at. So, if you are, say, living with a feeling of maybe like heavy unworthiness, maybe you feel that, you're going to be acting out of that feeling and expecting that from the universe all the time, which is what creates the reality you experience. And it's the same way though, if you feel like really light and confident and joyous, you're going to be acting out of that and creating that reality. And I could go on and on and on about examples, but your turn.
Yes, and I think that there is the concept of the law of attraction is misunderstood and it's misrepresented. I feel like it is spread around so it almost like lacks depth the way people are talking about it, because it's becoming kind of trendy, but people are not understanding it at its true form, I feel like. And it's like, think positive and you'll attract positivity. And I think oftentimes people will think like, oh, so if I have a negative thought, then something bad's going to happen. And I just think that there's so much more to it than that. And again, it comes back to you are co-creating with the universe. You are not necessarily directly responsible for everything that happens, but you can control how you respond to the things that happen. And when you understand the energy behind it, you can work with the universe to create something better from there.
Absolutely. I feel like a lot of people think that law of attraction is like self-blaming. I will even talk about things such as illness, the lack of ease in the body, dis-ease. And people will be like, absolutely not. Like, you don't attract that. You don't manifest that. But here's the thing, whether or not you're consciously, intentionally manifesting, you are manifesting 24/7, pretty much every experience you have in your life. The one exception that I have found is the death of others. And I think that, and whatever, like everyone can have different beliefs, like believe whatever you want. In my mind, I think that that's something that is like predetermined and maybe even possibly like agreed to by you for this life path prior to experiencing it. I don't know. But I don't think that's something that we manifest. I think that that's just something that we experience as part of our life path. And it's kind of a representation that that person served us. Just like breakups or like when you quit being friends with someone, like that specific frequency just isn't present in your reality right now anymore.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I feel like there are so many other things going on behind the scenes too. Like there are natural cycles. Things are meant to grow and die and rebirth. Like that is a natural cycle in all forms, like all physical forms. So I think that is universally just something that is going to happen. And again, how you respond to that, how you alchemize that is what matters. That's what you have control over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really the main point, is that it's not that you have control over every single aspect of your external reality. It is that you have control over how you feel, and that's what attracts the external reality that you experience. So when we're talking about like illness or disease in the body, I'm not saying like you're a bad person so that's why you're sick. Absolutely not. And a lot of people will think that if you talk that way, they'll be like, oh my god, so you think that this person that I know and love that is a great person got cancer because they're bad? I'm like, no, I think that they did because they're holding on to a lot of really heavy negative emotions, and they probably don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not a self-blaming thing. That is actually a really empowering thing when you get to understand the way that the world does work, because then you have the ability to recognize, like, what are you holding, and figure out how to release that and move forward and change that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's empowering, if anything.
Totally. If you like train yourself to think so positive and like suppress those negative things, they're still there. They're still there. You're just not working through them. You are not addressing them. You're not like letting them flow through you. You're trapping them inside. And so I think that's what happens with like the toxic positivity mindset and like bypassing all things negative. It's a world of duality. Both always exist. The negative is still there, but if you're not transforming it, alchemizing it, you are suppressing it, and it gets stuck. And that is where you begin to manifest disease, or that it'll begin to express in you, physically in your body, because energy, we're here to co-create. So we are creating things from energy. We're manifesting energy into the physical. So if you're not working through that stuff, you're going to manifest it somewhere. It's going to be in your body.
It has to express. If you're like, what am I holding on to then? Or like, how am I creating my reality? Ask yourself this: do the same situations show up in your life repeatedly? Like, do you date the same kind of guys, or have the same kind of friends, or have the same kind of job? Do you feel the same emotions habitually? Or do you think the same thoughts habitually? Or do you feel like you're expanding and moving forward and growing? That's going to tell you if you're holding on to something, because if you are holding on to anything, it's going to repeat itself in your reality over and over and over until you learn how to release that, because it's always what you're acting out of. And it's fascinating that way. And I think, like, it can be a little bit of a blessing and a curse, because the most important part of this whole podcast episode I want you to take away is nothing is more important than how you feel right now, right here. Because the person who experienced like whatever trauma you experienced as a child isn't the person that's sitting here right now. Like, you are a whole new person every day. You can just choose that this is a whole new reality, a whole new dimension, and that you may have been observing what happened in those other timelines, but you're not that person. And so you don't have to carry on those emotions into this here now timeline. And you don't have to also like feel worried or guilty or scared or pressured to do any specific certain thing to let go of whatever is going on. You just have to be really intentional about what you're focusing on here now and how you feel here now. Like, that is the most important thing of anything in the whole world.
Totally. And I think going off of that, another misinterpretation of the law of attraction is that you are calling in material things. It's a way of manifesting a house or a car, or, you know, maybe even a relationship or something. But to me, it is about finding what your internal alignment is, like what that is for you. And then all of that stuff can still come to you and you can still manifest that stuff. But the most important is aligning yourself. How you feel is the most important. So making sure that you are feeling good and aligned, and then everything else falls into place. You will manifest the house and the car and the relationship when you do that. Mm-hmm. But that is a result of being in alignment. It is not, I just don't think that the law of attraction is like about seeking material things.
Mm-hmm, mm-mm. It's funny because people, when they talk about manifestation, not everyone, you know, but a lot of people, and especially a lot of people who are kind of newer to understanding manifestation, they'll talk about like wanting a new car, wanting a new house, like wanting things. And it's just really ironic because we are meant to create from the inside out, not from the outside in. And they think they'll be happy when they have those things, but when they're happy, then they'll have those things.
Exactly. It is so much more about like internal or like inner transformation, mm-hmm. and then the external catches up with you. Mm-hmm. It's a reflection.
I think so much about Abraham Hicks when we talk about this specific thing, because she talks so much about like, don't do it for the thing. Do it for the feeling, like do mm-hmm. it for the joy, like do it for the appreciation of the happiness that you get to feel. That's why you're doing it, not for the thing. And the other thing she always says is the only reason that we want anything is because we believe we'll feel better in the having of it. But the whole purpose here is joyous expansion. Mm-hmm. Yes. It's not the things, it's the joy.
Right. And I think if you feel like you need a certain thing, you need this car, you need whatever, why do you need that? What do you think that is going to provide for you that you think you don't have right now? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think that is? Is it like a sense of freedom? Is it a sense of, you know, feeling worthy? What is it? Mm-hmm. Like, what do you think you're going to get from that? And that's what you need to work on.
Yep, exactly.
Inside. And that's what's going to manifest that into the physical. Mm-hmm. Once you master whatever it is you think you're going to get from the physical thing, mm-hmm. already embodying that inside.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, like what? It's funny because if you feel like you need, you're actually in lack. And so you're like repulsing whatever it is that you feel like you need.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That reminds me of like our money episode when you were like, money's like, ew.
Yes. It's literally like that for money and for anything, for relationships, for material possessions, for jobs. If you feel like you need it, like, oh my God, I can't survive without it. I can't be happy without it. Then you're not going to be able to attract it. That's not attraction. Yeah. Man. People also often ask me about death. Like, do we attract our own death? And I have different opinions on this. One is I think that could also be something that we agree to that's predetermined. And two is that I have witnessed a lot, like countless people who in a way seemingly did manifest their death. And that sounds really weird to say, and it's not cruel, it's not a judgment at all. Like, it's just like understanding what I understand, and then seeing like rappers, you know, rap about suicide or whatever, rap about like the whole like shooting gangbang lifestyle, like whatever, or doing drugs, like things like that, and then they'll die from that. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, they were speaking that into existence mm-hmm. all the time. And then it happened. And like, that isn't shocking. Our words do mean things. They are a vibration. They are spells, you know, and that doesn't, again, it's not judgment. It's just like observation.
Yeah. I feel like I do believe that we come to Earth with some sort of direction in place. Like, I feel like we know at least kind of what we're getting into when we come into this physical body. Obviously, we don't necessarily remember that when we come here, but I do think that there is some sort of, I don't really like to say like soul contract or whatever, but a lot of people speak of them in that way. But I do think that there is something that we're coming here to learn. We're coming to the school of life. And so I do think that there's something that you're meant to learn this lifetime, but I don't think that it's necessarily predetermined, because I think if you don't learn it in this lifetime, you come back again and you have another chance in a different human body. So I do think that there's potential for you to manifest your death per se, because we do have free will. We get to choose how we feel, which gets to, you know, bring our external reality based on how we feel.
Do you know what?
What?
I think that that's one of the things that you have to learn in the game of life, is that we do have free will, because so many people come here thinking, or at least grow up thinking, that like we don't have free will. Like, I'll never be rich or famous. Like, it's not a possibility. I don't have that. I wasn't put in the right position for that. And it's like, no, if you just change your thoughts, then you can change the reality. But that's something that people feel so stuck in. Like, no, I don't get to change this relationship. I don't get to change, you know, whatever. Like, they just are like so sure. And it's ironic, because that belief in itself, that sureness that it can't change, is what's not allowing it to change.
Exactly. Yeah. I think a lot of people think they're like victim of circumstance, victim, or like
victim of the man,
the man, or even just like, you know, they're unlucky. They didn't roll the jackpot this lifetime, whatever. Like, they just think that this is what they're meant to live and you can't change it. But you can. And that's what's empowering about the law of attraction, because you learn how to co-create with the universe. What is the universe? God. God is the creator, and you get to co-create with the creator.
That's another thing, though, is religion, I think, gives people like an external person to blame, or power source, or like something over me, but it is within you, though.
And people do that with the government as well.
Oh yeah.
And here's the thing, like, we are microcosms of the macrocosms. We are a reflection of what's out there, and what's out there is a reflection of us. It's all connected. We are, in crazy ways, like, embodying what's going on out there as well. Like, even just thinking about like relating our bodies to the earth, like our blood is like the streams going through, or the rivers that are going through Mother Earth. Like, our bones are like the mountains. Like, and the like atoms they function similarly to how like a planetary system functions, like a solar system. Like, we, even to a cellular level, we are microcosms of the macrocosms. So people think that they can't change the world by changing themselves, but you can, because you are a projection of, or like, what's out there is a projection of what's within. Like, you can make a difference, but you make a difference by like going within.
Yes. So good. And exactly that. Like, the external is a mirror of our mind, a mirror of our internal. And not only can you change the whole world, the only way to change the world is to first change within. And that's something that I think more and more people are awakening to, but a lot of people are not completely aware of, and they think that like forceful act is what's going to change, like fighting the bad and even more, you know, and it can't. Adding more chaos and violence and hate, it's just making the world the worst place. This isn't a world of energetics. Like, everything is made up of energy. So the only way to literally raise the vibration is to raise your own vibration, and you're going to spread that.
And you know what has been so like profound for me to understand about that is when you change within, you aren't literally physically changing everything that's in this current world. You transcend into or quantum leap into another reality where things are better. So it sounds really hard when you think you have to like change the world, but that is how you can create a new reality by focusing within. You can transcend into a different reality. And when I understood that, it was empowering. I didn't feel like hopeless, like I can't change, the world by just me, but you can, because it's energy. None of this is actually like real. It's energy. And it's so easy to manipulate and change energy and transform. And I don't know.
It's funny because so many people will be like, be realistic. Like, that's not true. That's not real. And I was watching.
You'll be stuck here in this hell if you believe that.
literally like, okay, good luck. I was watching a podcast today and the girl said, I used to be realistic, believe me. And she's like, it held me back more than anything in my whole life. She's like, I didn't used to understand this or believe this or whatever. And it was like the biggest mistake. And she's like, and then I listened to a completely different woman. And she said, when people say that like I'm so detached from reality, it is such a compliment to me. Like, I do not want to be attached to their reality. And it's so true. Like, you cannot be reacting to your external environment and expect change. Like, you just can't. Yeah. So stop reacting. And the other part headphones falling off. The other part about like understanding, attracting, and creating your reality is, first of all, watch all of our podcast episodes. Like, if you are not subscribed, I don't know what you're doing. What are you doing? That's how your reality is going to change. I promise you it will if you watch our podcast on a habitual basis. But that's what it takes, is changing your habits, changing your habitual thoughts. And if you're like, that sounds intimidating, literally just start your days off doing something that feels good. That's it. That's the key to life. Find what feels good.
Yes. There's something I was gonna say, but it has to come back to me again. It was regarding like detachment, being detached from the external. We were having a conversation fairly recently, and I was like feeling kind of almost guilty because I am so detached from the external things that happen in my reality and to people around me, where I was like, I think I'm supposed to be feeling bad about this. Like, am I a bad person because I don't care that this happened? But it's not that I don't care. Like, I really do care. And I feel like I'm one of the most caring people that I know. Like, I'm pretty caring and compassionate and kind. So I know that that's not true about myself. But I do kind of get caught up sometimes where I'm like, am I a bad person because I don't care? And it's not that you don't care. It's just that you are detached, and you know that by focusing on that, you grow that. So, and kind of along that, we don't need more like disease and hate and spreading the sadness and the deep darkness. Not that you need to ignore it, but we don't need to spread that. We can transmute that into higher vibration, love, healing, hope. And I think that as a witch, I am here to transform energy and alchemize energy. I can hold space for that and alchemize that without holding on to it, without attaching to it. And I've just realized that is like what is so special and so needed in this world. Like, we need to alchemize the pain, not ignore it, but also not be stuck in it, but to alchemize it. And that's just such an important part of my journey. So you're not a bad person if you don't, quote unquote, feel bad for someone who's experiencing hardships or something.
Another thing here is, as humans, we like have this desire to be relatable, and that is the desire for external validation. And I want to say, if somebody is complaining, you do not have to, and you should not want to be relatable. Like you, and if somebody is really sad, you don't have to be sad with them. And that doesn't mean you don't care. You just don't have to, like, you cannot help them from their vibration, you know? Like, I forget what the quote is, but there's a quote about, like, you cannot, it's from Einstein, I think. Like, you cannot solve the problem on the same level as the problem. The solution has to be a higher frequency kind of thing. And that is how it is. Like, you cannot lower yourself to their vibration and expect to inspire them or help them feel better. You know, like, and you don't need to do that. Stop telling those stories. They're not my stories.
So true. And even if they aren't your stories, they'll become your stories because you're aligning with that. I'm watching this show right now, and it's called Normal People, and it is about this couple on and off. They were in school and then they went to college, and it's actually in Ireland. And
Cute.
So I love that about it. And it's kind of a love story. It's kind of sad, but not like nothing bad really happens, but you just really want them to be together, and just things keep not entirely working out. But there is a character, the main guy. You kind of go through this journey with him where he is like in school, and he has friends that are bullies basically, and he doesn't necessarily participate in it, but he also doesn't like stand up for. So basically, they were bullying this girl that he was seeing, but he didn't want them to know, his friends to know that he was seeing her, and he was also letting them bully her in front of him. And I've just found this to be fairly relatable for myself. Not that I was in this specific situation, but like, he is trying to be someone who's liked by everyone. He doesn't want to say anything because he doesn't want his friends to like not like him. And you kind of go along this journey of him just like not really having like much of an opinion or much to say or anything, because he just wants to say or do what everyone around him wants from him. So it's just like he's just trying to make everyone happy and do what he thinks they want him to be. And I have kind of dealt with, I've done that in my past, like with having social anxiety and stuff. In order to alleviate that, I would try to just be what people wanted me to be or whatever. And that is one of the worst things you can do, I think, because it doesn't mean you're a bad person. I was still a really good person, but I would, go along with things that were negative. I would allow myself to be susceptible to that because I didn't know who I was. I didn't allow myself to have my own identity, that I would just take on these feelings and emotions and thought patterns and habitual behaviors from all these people around me because I wanted like approval, or I wanted that to be agreeable or whatever. And I just think that is not healthy or good. And I think that people will do that in workplaces or in school or even at home just to be agreeable, to keep the peace. And
to keep the peace, to avoid conflict.
Yes. And it's not about fighting. Like I mean, fighting isn't good either, but like you have to learn how to be so okay with yourself that you are okay with being different from other people, because a lot of other people are going to have negative opinions. They're going to want to talk about the negative and whatever. You have to be okay with not being accepted by them, because those people will fall away from your life when you start, maybe thinking more positive or having more positive habits and like raising your vibration. And I just think that you have to be okay in yourself, so okay with yourself that it's okay that negativity does fall away, because that's the point. We're transforming. But I just,
it cannot be stressed enough how important it is to be authentic, because you can attract what's authentically meant for you. Like you will never be in vibrational alignment with what's really meant for you if you're not being your authentic self.
And you suppress so much of yourself. You start to like be filled with like resentment and like just really yucky feelings because you are not allowing yourself to express what needs to be expressed,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so important to be yourself and be okay with not being loved by everyone.
Yeah, like
on your journey.
You're meant to be you.
Yeah.
Like you are specifically, like, I can't even begin to explain to you how incredibly impossible it is that you're alive.
Mhm.
Like, you know, like you're not meant to be somebody else. You are
Mhm.
not Karen, or maybe you are Karen, and then run with that. Like, you're Karen. You know,
Yes.
like,
Be okay with being Karen.
Yes. I'm sorry to everyone named Karen and Felicia for that matter. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it is so important to be yourself and to authentically express yourself and to follow your intuition. But I will say this, your intuition can lead you wrong if you are really caught in a cycle, because you will think it's your intuition telling you that you feel this way, but it will be that habitual feeling
Mhm.
coming back up. So
Totally.
it's important to just like check yourself always and be like, no, let me change that perspective,
Mhm.
because this isn't what that girl, capital that girl, would be thinking about this situation. You know, this isn't how that girl feels. And in order to become that girl, you already have to feel like her.
Yeah, I think that is such another really important aspect of the law of attraction or manifestation. It's not about like trying to get something you don't have. You
Mhm.
have to already have it. You already have to be that. You already have to embody that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but it is actually so logical. But we have so many different podcast episodes on this same kind of thing.
mhm.
So make sure you check those out. And, you know, this is a great way to get started changing those beliefs that you've maybe been holding on to, and changing what you're attracting, and also just becoming aware. Like, when something crazy happens in my reality, I'll be like, what was I thinking? Like, what vibration was I on before that? Or if like something like quote unquote like tragic or heartbreaking happens, I'll be like, what can I learn from this? Like, how
Mhm.
can I expand from this, rather than being like, I'm the victim, like
Right.
everything's horrible. Like,
Yeah.
there's so much to learn. There's always a blessing.
And some of those things that happen to you or around you, again, aren't necessarily a result of what you're thinking. I feel like sometimes
Mhm.
I think that it is a lesson. It's
Yeah.
just, it's something that you are meant to learn from.
Mhm.
And when you become more mindful and think about like, what can this teach me? You're able to, that helps you understand the energetics of it better, but also that is what's going to help you like process things and move through things and flow with the universe instead of against it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also say, don't use it in a way where you're going to be like guilty for thinking bad thoughts or something. Like, don't be like, oh my God, I was sad, so I'm going to attract heartbreak again. Like, don't, no. That's not how that works. Just recognize and ask yourself, like, what can I learn from this experience? You know, how can I move forward and grow from this?
Exactly.
All right, shall we pull a card?
Yeah.
I called two. I called two.
Okay, you guys. So we're finishing off with one of our favorites, the Starseed Oracle. I'll hold the little deck or the little box up so you can look at it if you're interested in picking it up.
Okay. The card that first came out was Hirath, longing for home, homesick for the stars. The second one is fall into my arms, surrender, holding the opposites extremes of life. Ooh, I like that one a lot. I think that surrendering is such a big part, because surrendering is like letting go of all those old stories. Surrender, holding opposites extremes of life. And it's like, I can't really tell, but it's a woman holding maybe a baby or a person in water. So they're probably like floating, and there's like light all around them, light shining down on them. Surrendering is so important because it's kind of like letting go of control of everything, letting go of any emotions, letting go of any desires, letting go of any perceived needs, and just allowing whatever is meant to be and whatever is a vibrational match to your truest self to become.
I see this as almost like the woman being like the universe, and then, you know, the baby is you. Like, let the universe hold you. Let the universe take care of the details. Surrender to that. They're walking through water. They're flowing through. So welcome that like flowing energy. Just let what comes come, and also let it go when it needs to go. Like, I love that so much. And then the extremes of life, like holding space for
holding
that.
opposites. That's so good.
Yes. And kind of like I was talking about, like, I can hold space for the negative. I can hold on to that negative, and I can alchemize it. I can hold on to it, hold space for it without becoming it. Like, I love that you can come in contact with both spectrums of life. But that doesn't mean you are one or the other. You can just be, and
here's the thing. I don't think that anything necessarily is one or the other. It's the judgment that we place on it that makes it good or bad, or, you know, whatever.
Well, I think there always is the extremes, but then you place like a meaning to the extremes. Like, because with the law of duality, like, there's always an equal and opposite, but putting a meaning to those is where you put, like, if one is better or worse or whatever.
Well, even in terms of like when bad things happen, you can either be like, it's a blessing, it's a lesson, or you can be like, it was horrible. And like, it is your judgment. It is your judgment.
Totally.
You know? Yeah. But, you know, also, like, there has to be yin and yang. There has to be positive and negative, like, or physical reality wouldn't exist.
Yes.
But yeah, it's all about how you react to it, you know, and rather respond to it than anything.
Totally. So the other card was Hyrith. And I've actually pulled this many times, which I feel like says a lot about me, but it says longing for home and homesick for the stars. And it's this woman, like, she's up above the clouds, like kind of like on a little mountain and surrounded by the sun and the cosmos. And that's really magical. But I feel like if you have this sense of longing, if you feel like homesick or like something's missing, I think that means that you're out of alignment. I think that you need to bring yourself back home to yourself. Like, everything that you need is within. So to me, that's just a message of like, are you aligned? What can you do to bring yourself back home into alignment?
Absolutely. As long as you are longing, that's lack, you know, and you can't have what it is that you're longing for until you bring yourself home to you and bring yourself home to the now. A lot of times we live in the past or the future instead of just being here now.
Right. Like, homesick, what is that? You are thinking about something that you have experienced previously, and you're noticing the lack of that. You're missing that. It's focusing on the past.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we hope you loved this episode. Please share it with anyone you think it might benefit. And give us a comment, give us a rating. We love to hear from you guys. If there's anything you want us to talk about, we'd love to hear it.
Let us know. Yes.
Let us know.
Thank you guys so much for co-creating with us and for helping raise the frequency. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.